Each one of us is born with a legend waiting to be birthed.
Evolution is upon us.
We're about to reinvent what this world is.
Throw up his kite and down JT goes.
I saw these majestic turns that he made. I'm thrilled because Martin Babler, the Cineflex guy in the front seat, is taking these pictures, and JT never goes out of frame. And then he hits the snowfield and starts to ski at 40 miles an hour, and I said, oh my God, I hope he doesn't fall. He has no poles.
Comes right to the edge of the mountain, and right off the top of the mountain.
Woohoo! Isn't it just fantastic to see people like JT performing at the top of their game? You know, he punches to the top of the Eiger, he ski flies down the first part, then he ski bases off the face. I think for most of us, any one of those things on any given day would be a hell of a day. And my career has been focused around the study of people such as this, understanding how the best in the world perform, what it is about themselves that they really do to bring their game to the top of the limits, and for us to learn from them. What can we understand and take from these examples like JT? I've had a fortunate career where I've had a front seat to many extraordinary examples of human endeavour, from sport, business, military, music, arts, culture. And I've understood, and there's many things that we can learn from these particular individuals about how they perform. But I often get asked, what is the one thing that really discriminates the very best in the world from the rest? And for us, one of the most interesting parameters, one of the most interesting characteristics is their ability to perform when everything goes wrong. Everyone gets it right when it goes according to plan. But when things go sideways, as the title says, when the shit hits the fan, that's when the best in class really rise to the occasion. So, on JT's second run of the day, let's see what happened there.
Started off fine. Went down the mountain, everything's going great. And he went over his little man-made ramp. And I see him flying in the air. And I see one ski go, but I don't see a second one.
He couldn't jettison one of his skis. One of his skis got stuck.
This was death-defying. If that ski did not come off, he would have died.
He had about 2 seconds maybe where he couldn't get it off. You know, I'm trying to film this, but inside your heart's like going, oh Jesus, come on.
Thankfully, he was able to get that ski unstuck, and it flew away, and he continued with his free fall, and then he deployed his parachute and floated safely down.
So think about that for a second. 2 seconds to identify the problem, figure out what you need to do to correct the problem, and then act against it. And this is what we wanted to talk a little bit about today. How do we prepare and train for this? When things go well, as I said, everyone's comfortable, it's all well and good. It's when things happen like this, the unexpected, that the real opportunity to show what you're made of really comes to the forefront. To do this, we need to understand a little bit about human behaviour. And in that case, we need to think about this classic curve, which I've spoken to many times, the performance arousal curve. Given all other things being equal, performance is a function of your state of arousal, anxiety or stress or pressure, whatever you want to put to it. For most of us, when the plan goes accordingly, you know, you put your business plan together, you pad the budgets, you're comfortable. Most people sit in this side of the curve. And you do so for a reason. There's room for things to go wrong. Performance is solid, but it's not really at the top of the game. It gets interesting when the plan doesn't work out. When things don't go according to how you'd thought they would happen. When budgets are high, when the stress is on, when the deadlines are too quick or too soon. This is when the pressure and the anxiety pushes you past the point of optimal performance, and your decision-making abilities, your ability to perform at the top of your game really are compromised. For us, we want to obviously get people to the top of the curve. But not just to the top, just to the right of the top. You're performing at the top of your game, you're taking risks, but you're taking risks in such a way that you're able to manage and retract from those risks in case something does go wrong. But if you do perform and train in this particular space, you adapt. and you adapt according to the following principle with respect to stress and performance. You're able to execute at a higher level of stress and arousal than you did in the earlier stages, and that obviously allows you to take on bigger challenges, which is what we're all here about to discuss. So how do we do that? Well, we need to understand the basis of risk. We need to understand a little bit more about the framework of risk and how we approach it. So we look at the comparison between what we call the actual risk and the perceived risk. Now, when the actual risk is high, but the perception is low, she'll be right, mate. That'll either get you killed, lose you a lot of money, or even worse, get someone else in trouble. Not a very good place for us to operate. We're interested in frameworks where we can establish a high risk perception with low actual risk. We've got the back. Does that make sense to everybody? If we can put you in a situation where the risk is perceptually high, like you feel like you're in a hard times, we push you over the right-hand side of that curve, you have the opportunity to practice and repeat and get used to that space and revert yourself back to that elite performance model, then you're in a good shape. And if you do that incrementally, building up the perception of risk to where it matches the actual risk, extraordinary things can and will happen. So how do we do that? Well, like everything in the thing, we're not born with this innate ability. You have to train and practice it. The easiest way to get people in a state of high perceived risk, push them over the top of that arousal curve, get them that gut feeling, that nervousness, the rapid breathing, is to present them with something they've never seen before. Challenge them in a very unexpected way. So for many years, we've been playing with lots and lots of different scenarios in this space, and I'll share with you one today. This is a group of young entrepreneurs and young athletes being faced with what's affectionately known as the snake pit.
For us, fear is not a bad thing. It's actually a tool. It's a trigger. It brings you up, and in many cases, you need to be brought up to get ready to do what it is you're about to do.
I knew I was scared of snakes, but I've never actually put myself in a position where I had to be near them.
Remember the two things: slow movements, low stress.
At first, I was doing my deep breaths, and I almost didn't really sink in what I was doing. Apparently, I kind of charged. Everyone else was taking their time, and I just wanted to get through there. My heart rate went from sitting down beforehand at 37 to 170 while I was just crawling in there. Learning to face that kind of primal fear and having the experience of feeling probably the most fear I've felt and overcoming it, and how amazing that feels afterwards just gives us the confidence to do that again and again.
So if you don't have a snake pit handy, there are other methods. But she's a world-class triathlete, Kristen. I can't get her to a $170 unless we have a run up Everest. But at 170 heart rate, she's not thinking clearly. So we've achieved the goal. So the first thing we teach the community to sort of understand is reframe the problem. When you're put in a situation like that, do you see it as a threat or a challenge? A threat will push you immediately over to the right of that curve. A challenge, in contrast, what can I learn from this? This is an opportunity to show my best self. I may figure out something about me that'll help me in a future state. That simple mindset change will reset the curve back to the place where you want to be. So that's very simple, very fundamental, but the basis of what we try to teach these individuals, and this snake pit as an example is a place to practice it. The second thing we want them to learn is to assess versus assume. It's a primal condition of all of us that in the absence of information, we'll fill in the blanks with worst case scenario. You know, back in the day, you hear a rustle in the woods, it was a safe bet to get the hell out of Dodge to preserve your life and save yourself for another day, wouldn't you agree? Today, that doesn't serve us so well. What was the assumption here in this particular scenario? Snake, bite, death. You know, that's why they were heart rates and that's why they exhibit those behaviors. The assessment would be, this is a training evolution. They can't really kill us. If you thought a little bit more clearly, they're boas, they're not poisonous. And if you paid real attention, you'd see there was a little masking tape around their mouth so they couldn't even open their mouth. So we game it in our favor, but they had the opportunity to practice this skill. It's very fundamental behavior. Take a deep breath, assess the situation, what's really going on. Okay, move directionally from there. The third part, if you do reframe the threat as a challenge, if you make a good assessment, you're in a position to respond versus react. A reaction is arbitrary. You know, you're sitting in the boardroom, you spent 6 months working on that really big idea, big plan, you present it and you're getting some constructive criticism. We all know that feeling, you want to jump down that other person's throat. That is the reaction. The response would be, maybe they're here to help me understand how to improve my game. Maybe they had a rough night. Maybe like me right now, they suffer from a cold they got from their twin 6-year-olds. You never know what's really going on. You reframe, you assess, you're in a position to respond directionally towards your goals. And when you're as good as JT, you do that in a split second. And that's where we practice and train these types of things. And these are the fundamental tenets of how we get people into the situations or out of these situations. When things go terribly wrong, starting to think about the behaviours. You may hear over and over again, calm breeds calm. Well, the basis of that is these fundamental behaviours we've just spoken about. But even more importantly, when we think more on the long-term framework of what we're about, it's always understanding who you are. Who are you? What do you stand for? That important question is fundamentally what a lot of our training evolutions are set up to elicit. We have a saying, people turn up as who they want to be. Our job is to show them who they really are. Because when things really do go bad, when the catastrophe hits, when things don't go according to your plan, it's those values, the character you want to aspire to, the framework of how you want to be remembered, those fundamental, foundational characteristics that make up who you are and what you stand for. Those are the things that are going to move you directionally the right way when things all go to hell. And with that, I'd just like to leave you with one little simple thought. For many years now, we've had an opportunity to look at these extraordinary individuals and participate in meetings like this. We have an understanding of how to get the best out of people in a manner that we've never had before. We're at a point in time where the evolution of evolution is upon us. So think about the idea as if we captured these basic principles, these basic ideas. We're able to generate the best version of ourselves and people like us and pass that back to the next generation. I think it behoves us to really think carefully about a platform and a way to do that in such a way that those people following in our footsteps get to benefit from all these extraordinary people who've performed at such high levels for so many years. And we give them a big step up in terms of their career and their journey. And I hope with some of what I've shared with you today helps you on your own personal journey and adventure. And thank you very, very much.